that are sort of extreme examples. But the big picture from this table that you can see is that the mill village is a very dense and multiplex network, whereas the farmers are much more loose. And that's abundantly clear. So I want to get to these specific speakers. Louise grew up in a relatively tight-knit farm setting in which she lived, played, worked with family who lived on the same land for 5 generations. She did not leave home until her late 30s, instead staying at home to care for her sick parents and grandparent and her grandmother. When she did marry, she married a man from a poor family who moved from job to job, sometimes in the mills. Since her teenage years, she also had close contact with Alice, a woman from the Bleachery village who was Louise's aunt from her second marriage. Figure 8 shows that Louise's pronunciation of R, it's foray in her handout, departs from the average for her age group and occupational category, but approximates the nationwide norm and average for mill speech. She follows the lowland pattern for iconic colonization by maintaining a vibrant and voiceless environment 72% of the time. On the other hand, many of Rosa's selections either match or surpass the communal dialect of mill villagers. Her speech exemplifies the most robust pattern of the mill villagers' pattern of the shibboleth. As figure 9 or 4D on the handout shows, her speech is completely artful and she monophongizes in all environments. Rosa still lives in the mill village where she grew up. She works in the mill and she also moved there to a poor health condition. Her family, friends, and neighbors are all helpful. The last individual speaker is Annie. Annie is mostly artful with some variation in that, and her speeches with I monophongization is also variable, favoring the lowland pattern of glyvolution before voiceless and mill environments, but full glides before voice environments. Annie was born and raised in Mill Village, and then she met and married William, a farmer. They currently live in Brooklyn near the Mill Village and take care of her mother. These 3 speakers demonstrate, first of all, that idiolects do not directly match communal dialects. This is not surprising. It is to be expected that each individual speaker has a unique configuration that merely overlaps with other individual speakers' configurations. As McNair points out, a communal dialect is the result of many individual acts. Secondly, these linguistics and social network scores demonstrate that contact between individuals is a prerequisite for linguistic evolution. Without contact, the available pool of features would not be heterogeneous. Again, no surprise. Probably a homogeneous pool of features never existed. The very nature of language itself is communication between individual speakers, which involves multiple contribution. What is significant is that the kinds of contact that happen in Britain have changed over the past century. Rosa's speech reflects strong ties in a close-knit network and therefore models conservative maintenance of mill communal dialect. However, Louise and Annie have lower network scores, which reflects the fact that they have both fostered weak ties to other communities. They both crossed over in their marriages, if you want to call it that. And yet both have maintained strong ties to their origins at the same time. Their speech models mutual accommodation and shows up even more vigorously to younger generations who are further expanding the available linguistic features through cultural dispersal. It has resulted from the decline of both agriculture and mountain textile industry. Stop. I recorded it and had everyone mic, and I was very, very lucky as
all of our species.